Have you ever gotten lost? Have you ever gotten lost in the middle of a presentation? Today you will take away a proven plan that will allow you to create presentations with a clear message. Here to present creating your roadmap to a clearer message is MyChelle Andrews.
If you'd been in my back seat of the Saturn that we rented with my boss, Bill Gross, and myself, as we tried to find the Great Salt Lake, you would have heard Bill say, "Keep going west until we find it." I started west. We drove for about a mile, and then we hit a dead end. "Now what, Bill?" "I don't know, MyChelle. Turn left and go until you find another westbound street, and then turn on it again." So I headed south until I hit another road that would head west. Then I turned west again and continued on until I hit another dead end. 5 tries later, we finally found the Great Salt Lake. Took a while. If only we'd had a plan. But no, we just jumped in the car and headed west. Have you ever wondered if you were ever going to get to your final destination? Well, that's exactly how I felt when Bill simply said, "Turn west and go until you get there." It worked out in the end, but it was a little frustrating. Have you ever felt like you were a presenter, that you had a presenter who just said, "Go west and then turn left until you get there"? Have you ever been confused in the middle of a speech? By the end of this program, you'll discover 3 keys that you'll be able to use to grab your audience, keep their attention, and deliver them to their final destination. As you start crafting your speech, you need to make a plan, a P-L-A-N. Because if you don't, you'll end up like Bill and me, heading west until you hit a dead end, and hoping that someday you'll actually find the Great Salt Lake. Now, what does plan stand for? The P stands for phrase. The L stands for lesson. The A stands for anchor. And the N stands for inspire. As you're crafting your speech, you need to think about these 4 components, I can't spell, of how the plan is fit together. What foundational phrase can you use that will pull your message together and help your audience remember your message? What lessons do you want your audience to walk away with? Or another way to think of that is, what do you want your audience to know, feel, and do at the end of your presentation? Lessons are best remembered if you have an anchor that pulls you in and allows you to anchor that lesson to a thought that helps you remember it. That can be an anecdote, an acronym, it can be a story. Today I used a story of heading west until I got lost. Now you have to remember, you have to brainstorm while you're doing this process. The last piece that you need is to inspire. N for inspire. N is a very difficult word to find a positive thing that begins with the letter N. I actually had to get my dictionary out, go through it, and brainstorm with my accountability partner to find an N I could use in plan, because all my other letters fit great. P-L-A, oh, N, that one's a little more difficult. Inspire. For me, the inspire is the most important part. Now, you don't want to shortchange this part of building your message. This is your first phase, making the meat of your message. And in your meat of the message, you want to go through the plan. Don't shortchange this, because without making a plan, you don't know where you're going to end up. You may not find all of your pieces in the correct order. Like my dyslexia, you don't have to spell plan, P-L-A-N. You don't have to do it in that order. If your lessons come first, that's okay. After you have your lessons, you might move on to your anchors and come up with 5 or 10 stories to support each one of the lessons that you want. It's going to take you 5 to 10 different ideas to come up with that one anchor that's really going to make your message stand firm. Once you have both of those pieces, your foundational phrase may come a little easier. Although you may not ever find a foundational phrase. So what would you do? What would you do if you didn't have a foundational phrase?
You skip it.
Skip it. Well, that's one thing you can do if you have identified your main idea and you know specifically what you want to get across. In my case, the importance of making a plan. You can. Or you can do like Craig Valentine suggests and take it to Toastmasters and have them tell you what foundational phrase might be the best foundational phrase for you. And then the inspire. You want to make sure that you have a call to action in your message. Because the reason we all get up to speak in front of people is to change people's lives. In this speech, I want you to know that if you follow the simple plan, you'll be able to make a speech that will be easy to remember, easy to follow, and allow your audience to not get lost on the way. In parts 2 and 3 of my module, you'll learn how to make your roadmap and how to map out all of your ideas so that they fall into place. And I look forward to sharing that with you. So stay tuned for more in creating your roadmap and a plan to success.
Creating your roadmap. MyChelle provided us a very clear, or with clarity, but not the same as clarity in this case, because we don't want to be swift as we're trying to provide us how to learn a plan. She correctly went through ways of doing steps on how to do it correctly, because as she's provided for us in her opening story, if you don't, you will end up lost and often end up at a dead-end street. And not only egg on your face for listening to somebody who said, oh, well, maybe go west. It's also your fault for not being prepared for being in the first place. We have gotten so confident today's age with GPSs and cell phones that we've forgotten who Randy McNally was. And without Randy McNally, we wouldn't have been able to get where we wanted to be. But it's very important, not only in driving, but in how we set up our speech, how we set up our day-to-day tasks at work, and other things in our lives that take a plan in order to get to something maybe as simple as dinner time and having a very good meal versus a very yucky meal. Your task today was to appropriately, something for your audience, very appropriate for our audience, I feel. All of us plan something every day. We have many tasks all the way down to, as I mentioned, putting a meal together for ourselves, even if it's for one person or a group of people. Your story was amusing, and you kept adding additional confusing. You could have tripped up on the story in the beginning by being the grumbly partner, complaining, if you would have listened to me, but I listened, but you didn't. You said it with a smile, you said it humorously, and told us a story that could have easily become an argument driving down the road with our partner going to where we want to be. And instead of getting there and enjoying it, we struggled. I think that type of story kept us our attraction by being able to put in the phrase, the lesson, the anchor, and the inspire. These things, not only acronyms, but I also think they're flowered words or metaphors that help me to remember things. I didn't know what metaphors were until the second semester of college. I told luck to the teacher, what kind of word is that? Because people didn't explain it to me. Grace had the beauty of having it ingrained in her when she started. I think you delivered your speech very well. I think that in time, you'll be able to take this new speech and move away from the lectern as you often do, and that you'll be more confident because your confidence is gained by the experience of telling this speech over and over again. So I think that will provide your comfortability as it was asking for in here. I feel your speech body was very organized, had very good flow, and was able to help us out. You weren't reading the notes that much, so it seemed to me you're just reading from a topic chart that was able to help you move down the line. I saw much more of a need for improvement other than practice in this case, and then breaking away. You are a very accomplished speaker, and we've all watched you grow up in our environment. Thank you.